about healthcare and the Drinkard Building and all the things that happen in healthcare. So I'm Ashley Lawson. I'm the Director of Nursing for Healthcare. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen me around. I'm also the COVID Nazi that no one wants to see coming. So yes, hopefully we won't see that anymore right now. So long-term care and nursing at Westminster, we think about the Drinkard Building. That Drinkard Building is our healthcare center, and that's our long-term care center. So what is long-term care? Long-term care is 24-hour nursing care when someone who needs assistance with their activities of daily living, such as eating, bathing, transferring, toileting, dressing, ambulation, or if you have some cognitive or physical limitations where you need 24-hour care. That's what long-term care is. Nursing is going to be a big part of your care. We have a big team in the healthcare center. We have certified nursing assistants. We have charge nurses, medication nurses. We have household coordinators, nursing supervisors, and myself, the director of nursing. So let's talk about that staffing. So we try really hard to have continuity of care in healthcare, which means that when we hire a full-time, let's say a full-time nurse, that full-time nurse is hired for the 4th floor, and that full-time nurse works on the 4th floor every time they come to work. They don't get a new assignment. Now we do have some what we call limbo or as-needed staff members. So when someone takes a vacation or someone's out sick, there will be some different people that you'll see coming in and out. But we do have nurses and CNAs that have their consistent floor. They come in every day. They have their same residents, and we do that for that continuity of care. We want you to get used to the people taking care of you, and we want them to know your needs so that there's not questions about it, so that they can help you, and they're like, oh yeah, I know Mrs. Smith likes to sleep in late, and we're going to let her sleep in late today, so I don't need to bother her yet. We do have 12-hour shifts, so 7A to 7P and 7P to 7A. We have CNAs. The CNAs are going to assist with your bathing, your oral hygiene, your transfers, and your meals. We have charge or medication nurses that are going to help with any of your medical concerns, any emergencies, any medications, any treatments that you have. And then we have 2 RN household coordinators. So April is in charge of the 5th and the 6th floor, and Amber's in charge of the 3rd and the 4th floor. Am I too loud? It does sound loud.
If you're not too close.
Okay. So Amber and April are RN household coordinators. So they are there to really help with that overflow of the households and make sure that what A team is doing is the same thing that B team is doing, because it's all about the resident. We want to make sure that the resident is getting the care. If they really like something that the A team is doing, then we want to make sure that the B team can do that as well. So we want to make sure that they're really there for that, and they really help with the overflow of any medical issues. Other disciplines, we have social services, we have activities, we have laundry, transportation to appointments, and we also provide pharmacy. So we provide all of your medications and lab work. We'll draw your labs, or the lab tech will come up to the floor and draw your labs for you. And any radiology services. So if you need an x-ray and it's something that can wait, we'll get them to come here for it instead of you having to go out for that. All right, so what to expect? So you're going to expect advocates that are going to be looking out for your best interest for the resident. You can expect to get medical care, any attention that you need. Interdisciplinary meetings are meetings that happen at least quarterly for every resident in healthcare. And in those meetings, you'll have your nurse, your CNA, your dietitian, your social worker, the therapist if you're getting therapy, and they just kind of talk about your care, and that's a good time. If you have something that maybe you want to do a little bit differently, we can work on that. You're also going to see your nurses and nursing assistants all day, every day. You're going to be treated with respect, and we're going to be there to help you with all your needs. We are a 5-star nursing facility. We pride on that. That's something that we've been for many years, and we're very happy that we are a 5-star facility. We work really hard for that, and as Sean says, we may not be a 5-star facility at some point, but we try really hard to keep it, so we hope that we will. All right, so I'll ask for questions, but know that I have social work, dining, and activities coming after me, so they may answer some of your questions. But if you have any questions for nursing, or if you want to save them to the end, I'll come back up. Yes, ma'am. So the question was, is it possible to order your medications through Express Scripts because you're military? So we order all of our medications through pharmacy. Now, we do have certain situations where their medications come from, assuming your medications are free. Um, and if that is the case, we will get them ordered, but we do have to send them to pharmacy to be repackaged. And there will be a repackaging fee. It's a smaller fee. So that is something that we can do. Any other nursing questions right now? All right, and I'll come back up at the end. All right, Tim.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Timothy Hawks. I go by Tim most of the time, and I am the social services coordinator here at for healthcare. So what do I do? The social worker is an advocate for the residents in healthcare. When you're admitted into long-term care, the resident will have assessments completed by several different disciplines, including myself. And these assessments allow us to kind of customize your care, make it very individually based. Some people have certain preferences on some things, other people have preferences on other things, and we try to cater to that as much as we can. The goal is to help residents attain or maintain their highest practical, physical, mental, and social well-being. The social worker also acts as a liaison between the resident, the facility, and the family. So if there's something that the family wants, they can give me a call. If there's something the facility needs to happen, they'll let me know about it, and I kind of work between all three groups to try to make that happen. I organize those interdisciplinary meetings, the care plan meetings that happen every quarter. They are every quarter unless there's a change in status, and in which case we'll have it within the quarter as well. I assure that the residents are educated on their residents' rights, so I'll bring you your residents' rights and kind of go over them with you to make sure that you understand that just because now you're needing more care doesn't mean you lose any of your rights. In fact, a lot of times you have more rights in healthcare than you would out in the community. I work with residents and families on advanced directives and end-of-life care. So, if it's somebody that's needing hospice, I try to organize all that, get you in contact with the right people, kind of go over all your different options. And I'm also a part of the ethics committee. I strive to bring well-being to each resident and empower the staff. I don't know if you've kind of seen me around. A lot of times I'll bring my dog to work so that she can kind of hang out with some of the long-term residents, make it as much home-like experience as possible. I'm a support to the residents to promote individuality and autonomy. Like I said earlier, we try to maintain whatever it is that's a preference out in the community. As you come to healthcare, you don't have to feel like you're losing anything about your individuality. And we work towards identifying ways to create an environment that embraces a person-directed culture. Are there any questions about what I do? All right, well, that's good then. All right, well, I will pass it on to dietary then.
All right, hello. So, your meals. So we do have dining rooms and we have a kitchen on each healthcare household. However, we do the main prep of the meal in our healthcare kitchen, which is on the bottom level of the healthcare building. So the kitchen upstairs in each household is more for things that you might want, more cook-to-order type things. We have an always available list, and some of those items on there we could maybe cook for you up there if you didn't like what was on the menu. You can choose to eat your meals in your room or in the dining room. We do encourage you to eat your meals in the dining room for other socialization with your other the other residents and such. And then we do try to shoot for more of a southern style cuisine. We used to duplicate exactly what the meal was in the cafe with over in the Drinker Building, and we realized some of the reason we tried to do that is you all are the folks that will, that's why you bought into Westminster. You'll eventually maybe need healthcare, and so we tried to keep the menu the same. But we found in healthcare that a lot of the residents they don't want the healthier overall. They don't. They want more of the comfort foods and the southern cuisine. So they want more of your fried chicken with macaroni and cheese and, those types of foods. So we want everybody to eat, so we try to have more of the, comfort foods in healthcare than we do as much of you all. Brian, the executive chef, has done well of giving you all a variety of foods in your independent living venues, but we've tried a lot of those variety of foods in healthcare, and they don't go over well. So anyways, we try to give people what they want and what they eat, because overall, our main goal is we want you to eat. You do get to make your own food choices. Just because we have a menu and we have what's menued for that particular meal, you get to make your choices of those. If you don't like anything that we're offering for that meal, then we do have the always available food list, which is more like things like, some of it's kind of similar to what the always available food list is in a cafe, but it's like a chicken breast, a piece of salmon, sandwiches, mashed potatoes, green beans, stuff like that we can always have available like as a backup, that if you don't like what it is on our scheduled menu. And then snacks are available anytime you would like them. You just ask, usually your nursing assistant, if you'd like a snack, and we will get you a snack. Special diets if they are needed. We're finding more and more people that have food allergies than I've ever seen. And one emerging one is alpha-gal. So we're getting more and more folks with alpha-gal allergy, which in some people just means no red meat. However, in some people, you have to go a step further and means no red meat and no dairy. No red meat, we can work with that. We can give you chicken, turkey, fish, things like that. When you can't have dairy, that is a bigger challenge. A big challenge. I will just leave it at that. Especially because butter is dairy, and we do use a lot of butter in our cooking, so that can be a challenge. But we will work with you and try to accommodate as best that we can with your food allergies and accommodate that, like I said, as best as we can. There's also just your typical food allergies, like, someone's allergic to shellfish, or someone's allergic to peanuts, or whatever you're allergic to. We will try to accommodate that and take away the foods that have those items in it, and then offer you alternatives. We also try to be accommodating for diabetics. However, I will say that it is still up to you as the resident to make your own food choices. Even though we can put you on a quote-unquote diabetic diet, it's still up to you to make your own food choices. And in healthcare, because this is your home, we are more liberalized diabetics. We're not a strict, oh my goodness, you are a diabetic, you can only have 30 grams of carbohydrates at this particular time. We are not that strict. If you choose to be that strict, you can do that. That would be your choice to do that, but you would count up your own carbohydrate grams. What we typically do for diabetics is we offer alternatives and let you choose them. But our main thing that we do is is we offer a smaller serving of the dessert for the long-term care folks. Because a lot of times when you're in long-term care, your appetite's not very good. So if I restrict you more so with, oh my goodness, you can only have a certain amount of carbohydrates or a certain amount of this or that, you're not going to eat as well. And our overall goal for someone in healthcare is we want you to eat. So we try to be more liberalized. Yes, ma'am. We can get that. We don't have it as readily available as, like, you all get that every morning. We can get that, yes, but we don't advertise it daily like that. But yes, we can get the daily, we can provide you with the nutritional information of the items, yes. So that way you could make smarter choices if you wanted to, if you chose to do that. Yes, and then the last special diet we can offer is mechanically altered diets. And what I mean by that is you've seen probably or heard someone have a puree diet, which is basically everything's the consistency of applesauce. And then there's one step up that we do where some foods are still going to be pureed and some foods are going to be soft. It's called our level 2. And then we have another step up to that, and that's our level 3, which is ground meats and softer foods. So it wouldn't be a lot of like fresh vegetables and things like that would be cooked. So things that are softer and don't take as much effort to chew. And then we have just your typical regular diet where you can have whatever you want to. So where these diets come into play is if a person has had a stroke, for instance, and unfortunately that a lot of times affects one's swallowing. If you are not safe to swallow, then the speech therapist comes in and assesses your swallowing. And if she finds that, you would do better on a certain consistency diet, then we, adjust your diet to her recommendations as what we want you to be safe when you're swallowing. We don't want you to choke. We don't want you to aspirate into your lungs. So we try to work together as a team with the speech therapist to try to give you the consistency that you need that is the safest for you, that also meets your nutritional needs. One thing I wanted to mention too, we also offer with those special diets is thickened liquids. We also, there are some who can't swallow and need a thickened liquid, meaning what we call them is a nectar thick and a honey thick, which means they're thicker than like a regular thin water. It's kind of like if you've ever, you watch something drip off a spoon. If you watch water drip, it's just dripping. If you watch honey, it's a little slower to come off the spoon. And then some people that have esophageal problems, they need something a little thicker to go in their throat so that it doesn't just go right down into your lungs. So anyways, we offer that too if that is something that your speech therapist or your physician have prescribed. And then hopefully if someone has had a stroke, you hopefully, improve, and then over time you don't necessarily need that diet anymore or consistency. And we work with you to try to get you back to your prior level. Also, I do a nutrition assessment on folks, meaning trying to figure out when they come into long-term care. Sometimes I have past records from your stay in the clinic, which is always helpful, particularly one's weight. Is trying to get an idea of your weight. Have you lost weight? Have you gained weight? What is your goals? What is the resident's goals for healthcare? Sometimes it's to lose weight. Most of the times it's just to maintain weight. And then there are some cases where somebody might want to gain some weight. So we try to figure out, what your goals are, and we try to work with you. Typically, we monitor your weight when you come in, and then we monitor it regularly just to make sure that as you adjust over to healthcare, that you are, because it can be a big change when you come to a new room or to a new location, to a new home. So we want to make sure that you've adjusted well, that you're eating well. So we kind of keep an eye on your weight, which helps us determine whether you're eating enough, not eating enough, or whatever. We do offer nutrition supplements. such as Boost, Ensure, Glucerna if you're diabetic, those types of things, if that is something that is needed for you. Any questions? Yes, ma'am. The question was about salt and how salt is a huge battle for some of you all in the cafe. We do offer a no added salt diet, which means that high salt foods are not restricted on that, but no additional salt is added. And then we don't encourage the resident, obviously, to add salt at the table. But we don't have an overly restricted. Our diets are liberalized, so we have regular, which means anything you want. We have a no added salt. We have our no concentrated sweets, which is basically, offering you a sugar substitute and a half portion of dessert, and then our levels. We don't have a lot of a variety because we are a liberalized facility and we try to promote eating, I guess you could say. We want you to eat, and the more restricted somebody is. However, like you mentioned about salt, I can take a regular diet, and if you tell me you want it adjusted, I can take away high salt foods from that, and then you would not it would not be for you to be. It would not be offered to you. So I can take those away, but typically we are encouraging liberalized diets, and you all making your own food choices. And you all, if you want to eat something high salt that day, that's your choice. Maybe because people that are watching their salt, they still can't have something high salt if you have low salt the rest of the day. So we try to put it into your hands as far as whether that is your one high salt item that day or something else is. So we try to give you more of the choice rather than me or us choosing, nope, you can't have that. Nope, you can't have that either. We try to give you put it back into your hands. Does that answer your question? You are allowed to have snacks in your room. Yes, you may. Mm-hmm. Yes, we welcome you to bring snacks or foods to friends or family in healthcare. Probably the best would be something non-perishable, just because it can last longer. But yes, you may bring in food. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. The question is, if you live in healthcare, can you still eat with friends in the cafe or the James River Grill? The answer is yes. We do have some residents that are still mobile, or at least electric chair mobile, and will take themselves to the grill or to the cafe, and they eat a meal with friends. So yes, you can still do that. We probably encourage you that if you're going to eat in the James River Grill, that it be by invitation, that you're just not going down there on your own. We encourage, to go with friends or such. But yes, you can, and then we'd swap it out. So it's not like you would, as long as you don't go overboard in the cafe, we could swap it out, the price, the meal price. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. The question is if you take special supplements. What? You're talking about supplements as in like vitamins and minerals? Those would still have to go through the pharmacy. You just tell the staff what special supplements you are taking, and then once Dr. Lord would approve that, then yes, you can continue on those. It just, they would have to be provided by the facility pharmacy. Yes. The question is, you all are starting to use plant-based butter in the cafe, which is true. I think they recently introduced the fins and feathers section, which is great. So it's very Alpha-Gal friendly because there's no dairy, there's no red meat. And the question was whether we could use plant-based butter in healthcare. We don't currently, because this is newer to us using it. I'm not saying that we couldn't use it. So yes, if we had someone that was, significantly alpha-gal or, had a serious allergy to dairy, we could, if they're using it in the cafe, yes, we can eventually, we could use it over here. For now, it would probably be a individual one-on-one type thing, like we'd have to special prepare that particular person's foods. So I guess to answer your question, we aren't currently, but we could probably try to do that if we needed to, if there was a severe allergy. What we do have some alpha-gals, and what I've found is all of them are red meat, no red meat. And then I've actually found, fortunately, that some of them, after years have gone past, they're not alpha-gal allergy anymore, or you can at least have it in small amounts, which is helpful. But of the residents that I have now that are alpha-gal, they came in, no red meat, no dairy, and then over the months, we've slowly, with their permission, their family's permission, have slowly introduced dairy back into their diet, and it has gone really well, thankfully. And they haven't had the reaction. So we've also tried to do that with some folks too, because it is really hard. We can limit your dairy, but it is really difficult to have a varied diet when you cannot have dairy. For instance, you can't have sauces on things. You can't have this. So you're eating a lot of plain chicken, plain fish, and I'll admit that can get old after a while to some people. It really can. And so, trying to be an advocate for our healthcare, especially for some of the ones that can't speak for themselves anymore, I want to, if you can tolerate dairy, I want you to have more food choices. So that's why at least the two residents I'm referring to, I've gotten with their families and I've said, hey, can we try to, get a little bit of dairy in their diet and just slowly but surely reintroduce it so you can have more choice and so you're not eating the same foods over and over and over again. And like I said, it's worked beautifully. I'm sure it wouldn't work on everybody, but so we try to work with you on what your needs and your wants are and what you can tolerate and what you can't tolerate. The question was, am I overseeing memory care as well? And yes, I do. I spend most of my time in healthcare, but yes, I do oversee with memory care and assisted living. So if we have an alpha-gal, for instance, an allergy, which we do there, we do our best to accommodate that too, yes. Any other questions? All right, thank you. Megan is next.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me? I'm Megan from Recreation, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what recreation looks like in healthcare. So what to expect when you arrive. You will get an assessment done by one of our recreation staff. We typically have 2 in healthcare. One is on 5 and 6, and one is on 3 and 4. So we'll assess your needs, your leisure interests, what you like, what you don't like, what group programs you think you might want to come to, and then we go from there. We have a monthly calendar and a weekly calendar. Your weekly calendar we bring to you every Monday morning, has everything that's going on for the week. Upcoming events are in there, puzzles, games, stuff like that, comics. And then we also provide transportation to and from the group. So we'll come by your room, say, hey, this is what's going on. Do you want to go? We'll take you to and from the group. Some of your groups will be on the floor. Some of them will be on One of the other floors, like 3, 4, 5, and 6, is where we host groups, and some of them will be on the mezzanine, which is on the second floor of Drinkard. And usually if it's on the mezzanine, it's with other areas. So it's going to be with assisted living, memory support. We all get together pretty regularly, almost daily. So again, the types of programs that we offer: physical, cognitive, emotional, social, religious. We have a church program every Wednesday. We offer exercise, community engagement. We do a service project every month with Daily Bread. We offer bingo, which is very popular, art with Betty Leary. She's pretty well known in the community. Movies, games, pretty much anything you request, we try to make happen. Outings are also included. We get out in the community. We ride the bus. We go out to eat. We go downtown to the academy. We go to local high schools to see plays, all of the above. We also have Susan Carroll, the harpist, which most of y'all are familiar with. She visits weekly in healthcare, and we have pet therapy dogs that come visit almost weekly in healthcare. This is just a quote from one of our residents, Donna, who attends a lot of groups. Makes her feel safe. She hangs out with us a lot and seems to enjoy the programming. What questions do y'all have for activities? Perfect. I'll turn it over to Ashley.
All right, are there any other questions about healthcare? Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. So the question was that the quarterly meetings that we have, we call the interdisciplinary meetings. Sometimes they happen sooner if there's like a change in condition, and we call that a significant change. One reason would be if they are on hospice. So if they became hospice, we do required, it's a regulation, we do have to set up another meeting. Or if they graduated from hospice, we have to set up another meeting because that's a change in condition. Or another example would be if someone who was up and walking and ambulatory and only needed someone to stand by and watch them, and then a month later we're looking at their charting and they're like, they're dependent, they need total care, and there's been a significant change in them, and we have certain criteria that we go by. You have to go down so many levels in certain areas for it to be considered a significant change. But yeah. And we talk to you guys all the time, so those meetings, they're fun. Tim runs them. He has a great time with them. But we talk to our families and our residents so frequently. Anytime there's a medication change or anything, you're gonna hear from us all the time. So there's a lot of things that you're not gonna like build up your questions to the meeting, because you're gonna be answering those questions are gonna be answered a lot because you're talking to us all the time. Any other questions? Absolutely. She asked how much notice do you get before the meeting if a family wanted to attend, and Tim sends out the emails or the letters the week ahead of time. And it has your date. If you need to change the time or something, Tim will work with you on that. But absolutely, families are encouraged to come. Yes. We have, absolutely. He asked if we considered using Zoom for family members. We have used Zoom before. We have a conference call phone, so a lot of times we just have you on the phone so that you can hear and you can hear everyone in the room. But yeah, we can definitely accommodate that. All right, looks like everyone's ready to come to healthcare. We'll sign you all up. Except, yeah. All right, guys. Have a good day. You good?
Just wanted to mention next week, same time, same place, we'll be going over contracts and billings with Melinda Turpin. So that's a big one. And if you ever want a copy of your contract, come by my office. Thank you.